Good evening and welcome to the August 30th, 2021 regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask Councilmember Harris to lead us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Neil. Next item on our agenda is reflection, and I'd like to call for a moment of silence, please. Thank you all very much. Next item on our agenda is approval of minutes. Tonight we have 3 sets of minutes before us. The first being from the work session on July 12th. What is the pleasure of the council? Rob Wu.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mike, I saw your hand next.
Second.
Okay, I will call the roll. All those in favor say aye, any opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
Councilmember Spiegel.
Aye.
And Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
Thank you very much. That carries 5-0. Next, we have the minutes from the regular meeting of July 19th. What is the pleasure of the council? Mike.
I'll move approval of the meetings of the minutes of the regular session of the Mayor and City Council on Monday, July 19th.
Okay, Lorianne.
Second.
Okay, I will call the roll. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
Councilmember Spiegel.
Aye.
And Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
Okay, carries 5-0. And the last set of minutes we have are from 2 weeks ago, August 16th. What is the pleasure of the council? We'll go with Neil.
Move approval of the minutes of the meeting from August the 16th.
Okay, I think I saw Lorianne's hand.
Second.
Okay, I will call the roll. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Aye.
Councilmember Wu.
Aye.
Councilmember Spiegel.
Aye.
And Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Carries unanimously. Next, we're going to move on to presentations. And tech team, if you could bring up the proclamation for Recovery Month, that would be great. And I'll read the background material. So September 2021 is National Alcohol and Drug Addiction Mental Health Recovery Month. The 2021 National Recovery Month theme, recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, every community. Reminds people in recovery and those who support them that no one is alone in the journey through recovery. Everyone's journey is different, but we're all in this together. Recovery Month will continue to educate others about substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders, the effectiveness of treatment and recovery services, and that recovery is possible. All of us, from celebrities and sports figures to our coworkers, neighbors, friends, and family members throughout our lives, have experienced peaks and valleys, both big and small, but with strength, support, and hope from the people we love, we are resilient. And that quote comes from the National Association for Alcohol and Drug Abuse Counselors. In addition to this proclamation, the city of Gaithersburg is celebrating Recovery Month with a number of activities. There's a month-long promotional campaign providing resource information, highlighting the city's involvement, celebrating the connections of all those that work to provide assistance for people in need of substance abuse treatment. There is the 16th annual graduation ceremony on September 25th, hosted by the Wells Robertson House residents and featuring guest speakers. This year, the ceremony will be at the Activity Center. There's a family dinner. Actually, I don't know if they may have changed that, whether it's going to be the Activity Center or whether it's going to be on Zoom. I'm not sure about that. So check, if you're following this, check on the city website to make sure about that. And there's a family dinner on October 3rd hosted by the Wells Robertson House residents that emphasizes the benefits of families dining together with their children. The city of Gaithersburg is proud to own and operate the Wells Robertson House, a transitional housing program providing services to men and women who are homeless and in recovery from substance abuse, many of whom also experience mental health disorders. Accepting the proclamation this year is Dion W., a program participant. And we have a picture of her on this slide, and we thank her very much for receiving the proclamation. And next on our agenda is the proclamation of Constitution Week. And tech team, if you could bring up that slide, that would be great. I know there is a slide. Okay, thank you, tech team. On September 17, 1787, 39 delegates approved and signed the Constitution and sent it to the then Congress of the Confederation of the United States. On September 28th, Congress sent the Constitution to the states. Maryland was the 7th state to ratify Constitution on April 28, 1788. On June 21st, 1788, New Hampshire became the 9th state to ratify the document, which made for a two-thirds majority. The last 4 states approved the Constitution on May 29, 1790. The 10 amendments that are the Bill of Rights became effective on December 15, 1791. This September 17th will mark the 234th anniversary of the signing of the Constitution. And receiving this proclamation this year is one of our nonprofit partners, a group called Liberty's Promise. They are a local nonprofit that supports young immigrants while encouraging them to be active and conscientious American citizens. They work with students at both Gaithersburg and Quince Orchard High Schools, where they aim to make the immigrant experience an affirmative one for young newcomers while instilling a sense of pride and support for American ideals of democracy and freedom. Liberty's Promise seeks to reaffirm fundamental egalitarian and democratic traditions for future generations. By demonstrating the potential for individual choice and success in this country, our newest citizens, with an unwavering belief in the liberty that brought them here, will continue to help sustain and inspire the American democracy for generations to come. So we thank them very much for receiving this annual proclamation, and thank you, tech team. We will move on to our next item on our agenda, and that is public comments. And this is the time when the mayor and council like to hear from anybody from the public who'd like to speak. We ask that you keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes, and state your name and address or neighborhood for the record. Do we have anybody who'd like to speak? Actually, let me have the tech team play the instructional video first. For anyone who's interested in speaking, this is how you get to do it.
Good evening. If you've connected to the meeting tonight via Zoom and you're on a desktop or a laptop and you wish to make a public comment, we can't currently see or hear you. What you need to do, please, is wiggle your mouse around and look towards the bottom center of your screen. You should see a raise hand button. Go ahead and click on that now for us, please. Alternatively, if you've connected in via telephone, you can press *9.
Thank you, tech team. Do we have anybody interested in testifying tonight? Going once. Well, I see. Okay, I see one testimony. Tech team, if you could bring up Stephen Escobar, please. And Stephen, when you come up, just unmute yourself, state your name and address or neighborhood, and go right ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council staff, and all others in attendance. My name is Stephen Escobar from 1 Ramsdale Court. I wanted to thank everyone that has participated in the Financial Empowerment Program, and especially thank you to Councilmember Ryan Spiegel for bringing this national model to Gaithersburg in 2009. I have always encouraged financial management education. After all, I'm a product of a very similar program that I utilized in my early 20s. I now have complete control over my finances and mentor young adults to do the same. Unfortunately, that program no longer exists due to lack of funding. I pledge now on record that I will donate $1,000 to the Financial Empowerment Program for the next 3 years. I encourage Mayor and City Council to vote to establish the Financial Empowerment Program so it can be utilized by all residents here in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Do we have any other testimonies this evening? Going once, going twice. Okay. All right. So we will move on and thank Mr. Escobar for his generous commitment there. And The next item on our agenda is from the mayor and city council, and we're going to start with Councilmember Harris this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. So just wanted to mention that the South House Garden near City Hall on Summit Avenue, or I'm sorry, on Diamond, East Diamond, is now open. At least had a soft opening that I was able to attend over the weekend along with a number of us. There was a campaign event there, but they look like they've done a really nice job with the space, and welcome one and all to Gaithersburg. Want to talk about a few events that are upcoming. Hopefully COVID won't get in the way, but this coming weekend on Saturday is the annual Kentlands Lakelands 5K, which wasn't able to be held last year due to COVID, but is planned for this weekend, and the weather looks like it'll be okay, although the middle of the week looks a little dicey with the hurricane coming through. On Labor Day, we have the Labor Day picnic and fireworks at Borough Park, which should be a good time again. Hopefully COVID won't get in the way. And also, since there is an election, many of you, let's see, camera might want to make this disappear, but this postcard from the city came in the mail today giving instructions on how to get a vote by mail ballot. If you so desire, voting will be by mail and also in person on election day. We have elections for mayor and 2 city council positions. And I know people have been out campaigning and knocking on doors, and there will be a candidates forum. I'm not sure if it's considered a debate or a forum, but sponsored by the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce. It's scheduled for October the 7th at 7 p.m. and will be held virtually in this exact format. So please look at what's going on. There are 2 open seats available for council and 5 candidates, as well as our mayoral position and 2 candidates who have registered their intent to run for mayor. So please participate in democracy. We're hoping for a good turnout and some interesting new people joining the council as we go forward. That's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. We will go to Mike Sespin.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks, Neil. I won't repeat those except to remind people there's still time to register to run in the Kentlands Lakelands 5K. It'll be good that last year it was a virtual event, so you're on your honor to do the run and submit your time. This year there'll actually be timers, and if you register, you'll have a chip, so it'll be an accurate timing. There's also still time to volunteer to serve, to work the race, either as a course marshal or in some other role. So I hope that you'll join me in running again. Again, Kentlands Lakelands 5K on Saturday morning. Hopefully the weather's going to be fantastic. I want to wish and I want to send my best wishes to the children, parents, and school staff in Montgomery County. Many of them began school today, and my granddaughter was among them, starting the 1st grade this year at Gaithersburg Elementary. So I'm wishing you all a safe and healthy and wonderful school experience. You're going to learn a lot and make a lot of new friends and enjoy the experience in the face-to-face class, even if you're masked up. So, and then over the last couple of weeks, including this week, many colleges began classes as well. I know a number of Gaithersburg students began their 1st year of college, so I want to wish them all a great school year as well. And then finally, a somewhat somber note, but important to observe. This afternoon, it was announced that the mission in Afghanistan ended with the final flight leaving the airport in Kabul, including military and civilian personnel. 20 years is a long time. But I think it's important to acknowledge and thank those who served the mission, whatever you want to consider what the mission was in Afghanistan, whether you're military or civilian, whether you work for a non-governmental organization, etc. Thank you for your service, and acknowledge the sacrifice of many, and to remember those who did make that ultimate sacrifice, and consider the loss and gratefulness to their families. So that's about it, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We'll go to Rob Wu.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, I couldn't find the button. So I'll just say ditto to a lot of that. I'll note that I sent 2 kids to school today for the first time. It's pretty emotional. Actually, you might hear one of them trying to go to bed right now. So best wishes to all the school parents. It's difficult, but we'll get through this. I hope we all stay safe. I did want to raise one issue, kind of dovetailing on where Mike was just commenting. I know that the county adopted a statement with respect to particularly the evacuation from Afghanistan and the welcoming of SIV eligible Afghan nationals to the country. I know they've been ramping up their programs as well. I'm not quite sure what or if the city is involved in that, and I'd be interested in finding out how we can support, particularly as the greater DMV area marshals our resources. I'd be interested in the city taking part in that as well. So I just wanted to raise that as an issue. Perhaps staff can follow up. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. We'll go to Ryan Spiegel.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo all the sentiments that have already been expressed. And just to follow up on what Rob mentioned, I do recall that over my time on the council during various international crises, there have been other times where we have asked our staff what involvement the city has in helping with folks who are either refugees or other protected statuses coming here. And I believe our community services division has worked closely with the county in the past on these types of things. And so I think that's a good request that Rob made, and hopefully we can get just a quick update on that. And I think they probably already have that information easily accessible based on past experience during other events and crises. And following up on all of the very eloquent comments of Council Vice President Sesma regarding the war in Afghanistan, I did also want to specifically say that we send our condolences, of course, to the families of the service members who were lost in the terrorist attack this week in Kabul. I believe our flags at City Hall were flying half-mast in memory of them. I could be wrong about that, Mayor, but that's what I've heard, and I think that that's an appropriate acknowledgement. Moving on, I wanted to offer my appreciation for the proclamation that we do every year to honor and recognize Constitution Week. I must say it's a little disappointing that because we're not meeting in person right now, we don't have our good friends from the local Daughters of the American Revolution chapters to give us their wonderful recitation on the history of the Constitution and its importance. But hopefully next year we'll all be back in person and be able to have them with us again. But I do think it's an important opportunity as we celebrate and observe Constitution Week, particularly at a time and over the course of a year when arguments about what is constitutional or unconstitutional get thrown around, unfortunately, fairly loosey-goosey to support or oppose people's positions on a whole variety of things. People are very passionate about a lot of big things going on in the world today. And certainly we see it in some of the correspondence we receive to the mayor and council. I want to do what I do every year on Constitution Week, which is to strongly encourage everybody to take a few minutes and read the Constitution. For some folks, they may have never actually had a chance to read it. For some, it's been a very long time since they've read it. It's not a long document. You can pull it up on the internet. You can find it pretty easily. I want to encourage folks to dial down some of the heated rhetoric and think about what the Constitution actually says, and maybe also what it doesn't say. Because I think it's important for us not to just, take this document as a symbol and flail it around, either as something to support our position or oppose someone else's position without fully thinking carefully and understanding what it really means. So everybody's entitled to their own interpretation of what it means, I guess, until a court tells you otherwise. But you should at least read it so that you can have an informed interpretation of what it means. Additionally, in recognition of Recovery Month and our proclamation for that important cause, I think it's an appropriate time for us to be marking that occasion as well, as we work together with our city attorney and other partners across the nation on trying to finalize the national opioid litigation settlement that we talked about in recent weeks. And also as we remember Shadell Canty, our city employee, for her service to the city and the Wells Robertson House and the important cause of recovery. And I want to congratulate all of those who will be participating in the graduation ceremony from the Wells Robertson House on September 25th, later this month. In follow-up to what Councilmember Wu was discussing with respect to safety and school starting and everybody trying to do their best in a changing landscape with respect to public health information for COVID. I did want to note that the county government has restarted regular municipal briefing calls with city leaders around the county. I believe those are happening now every 2 weeks to give us updates on any changes to policies or protocols and updates on additional data on caseloads and impacts. So we'll report back to you all as we are able and as we continue to communicate regularly with the county. As Neil said, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone gathered outdoors in a safe and socially distant manner for a number of great events coming up. The Kentlands Lakelands 5K he mentioned, the Labor Day fireworks Neil also mentioned, and other events coming up as well. Do want to take a moment to remember that Labor Day isn't just a day off of work. Its history is to honor working people. And this year in particular, we honor all our frontline essential workers who showed such courage and determination throughout this pandemic, whether it was first responders or healthcare providers or teachers or food service workers or delivery workers and so many others. We just want to say we thank you and we see you. And then finally, I wanted to mention the Jewish holidays of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which will be happening between now and our next formal city council meeting. For those of us who observe the Jewish New Year of Rosh Hashanah, I want to wish you a Shana Tova, which is Hebrew for a good and happy year, a new year. And hopefully, may this be a time of renewal and also a time of turning the corner on the challenges of the past year to a healthier and brighter and sweeter time ahead. And because we also have no meeting between now and Yom Kippur, which happens just a few days after Rosh Hashanah. Yom Kippur is the Jewish Day of Atonement. And as I do each year, I want to offer my annual public apology for anybody that I have wronged, whether it is colleagues or constituents or friends or neighbors, whether I did it knowingly or unknowingly. I want you to know I sincerely am sorry, and I hope you can accept my apology. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Ryan. We will go to Lorianne Sales.
Thank you, Mayor. So thank you to my colleagues for mentioning a lot of the activities and events over the past 2 weeks, from school to what's happening overseas. Thank you all for your remarks. So I'll share a few updates about the past 2 weeks. I attended the Mako conference in Ocean City, and enjoyed all of the programs and seminars that they had, which included cyber threats, which we are all aware of. I think when we first started meeting virtually, we had some complications. And so ensuring that our firewalls are protected. They also talked about broadband connectivity as our students are going back. Some are still learning from home. And so we want to ensure that we have the infrastructure to ensure that all of our students are connected to learning opportunities. And so the governor recently announced funding across the state. And so hopefully we'll learn more about that and how the city of Gaithersburg can tap into those funds and countywide. Also, the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, Chesapeake Bay and Water Resource Policy Committee. As chair of that committee, we are going to be hosting our annual Bay and Water Quality Forum on September 17th with the EPA. So it was good to also attend the Clean Chesapeake Coalition meeting on day 2 of the conference. I also attended a session on engaging with residents in the virtual space post-COVID, also budgeting in a post-COVID world, included best practices on how to navigate the use of ARPA funds in our municipalities and all across the state. There were also sessions on parks and recs, how we can promote public health. I think throughout the pandemic, we've seen our local parks have become highly used, and there's a new task force dedicated to seeing how we can leverage our parks in promoting public health. And so it was a great time and learned a lot. There is also Women's Equality Day was celebrated last Thursday, and there was also a march about the Equal Rights Amendment over the weekend with lots of activity. The House recently passed legislation to ensure voter suppression will not happen. And so we're calling on our Senate leaders to ensure that they are able to also join the House and pass that legislation and ensure equal access to the ballot. We also had a virtual celebration as chair of the Women's Equality Day Steering Committee for Montgomery County. We held our virtual celebration last year, and we were hoping we could have a celebration in person this year. Unfortunately, the Delta variant changed those plans, and once again, we pivoted and adapted our programming, which included speakers from all over our community. They talked about the history and significance of Women's Equality Day. That was from Amanda Learman, who runs who's executive director of Supermajority. We also had the importance of voting spoken about from our new LGBTQ liaison for the county, Dr. Amina Johnson. Voting for the first time, Gaithersburg's own student member of the board, Hannah O'Looney, talked about that experience and her excitement. We also heard from voting from an immigrant perspective from Belle Leong Hong with the Maryland Democratic Party. We also heard from Getting More Women Elected. That was Diane Fink, the executive director of Emerge Maryland. And last but not least, we heard from Council Member Nancy Navarro to talk about the balancing act of elected women. This event was the brainchild of the late Linda Mahoney, who passed away earlier this year. And so we also closed out the virtual hour-long celebration with a tribute to Linda Mahoney. And I was joined by Mayor Kate Stewart from Tacoma Park, who was the MC with me for that event. So looking forward to the upcoming election season here in the city of Gaithersburg and the midterm elections next year as well. So make sure your registration is up to date. And I again want to echo the sentiments of our students and staff who are safely back in school, and let's hope for a safe, productive, and enriching year for all. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Lorianne. I want to first off thank all of you for your statements, and I associate myself with all of them. And I want to further congratulate all the staff involved in planning the Fox 5 Zip Trip program on August 20th. I know Britta took the lead, and a lot of different staff were involved, and everyone did a great job. I think we highlighted Gaithersburg very, very nicely. I want to also join Mike in the promotion of the Kentlands Lakelands 5K. I will be participating. Mike talked about if you sign up, you get a chip and it helps get you an accurate time. And I was actually hoping for an inaccurate time this year because I've trained 0 for this event, and it's going to be embarrassing, but I'm going to be there anyway. I'm going to do it. I want to note that we will not have our regular session next week because due to the Labor Day holiday. The next work session of the Mayor and City Council will be on Monday, September 13th, 7:30 p.m. We'll be discussing the city's adequate public facilities ordinance, and the next regular meeting of Mayor and Council will be on Monday, September 20th. Both of those meetings will be streamed live on Zoom, and however you're watching us now, you'll be able to watch us then. So hope to see you on the 13th and on the 20th. And next we will move from the city manager, and tonight we have the acting city manager, Dennis Enslinger.
Evening, Mayor and City Council members. I wanted to do a couple of reminders related to the holiday. One is the city offices will be closed with the exception of the miniature golf and water park. So we hope residents kind of use those two facilities, especially the water park, since it will be kind of the last hurrah of the summer. They'll be closed again on other facilities will be closed on Monday, September 6th. If you have recycling on September 6th, your recycling will actually take place on Saturday, September 4th. In addition, as many of you noted, the Lakelands, Kentlands 5K run and the Labor Day picnic and fireworks events are taking place this weekend. There will be some street closures related to those. So look at the city's website for that information. And then finally, I wanted to wish everybody happy Labor Day and thank all the city employees for their hard work and dedication they have put in this year and they do every year. Really, our city employees are the key reason we can provide such outstanding services to our residents. And I wanted to personally thank them here tonight. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Next, tech team, if we can bring up Tom Lonergan and for our economic development update, that would be great. I'll note to anyone planning to join us for the fireworks on Sunday, please make sure to bring a mask if you cannot be socially distant from people near you. We want everyone masked. We want this to be a safe event, and it is highly recommended that you bring food and drink and make your own picnic. That way you don't have to stand in lines at the food vendors. We have fewer food vendors than we normally would have for Summerfest. So just putting that out there. We want everyone to come enjoy, but be safe. Okay, Tom Lonergan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 items for you tonight. First, I just wanted to report that the city of Gaithersburg's hotel industry does continue to slowly dig its way out of the hole created by the pandemic and its associated restrictions, and that the stats are beginning to bear that out. In June, the city's average occupancy rate for its nearly 2,000 hotel rooms rose to 56%, up from 34% a year prior. And in July, that rose to 63.6%, up from 33% the prior June, well above the 25% occupancy rates that were recorded early on during the pandemic, and getting closer to the more normal 70 to 75% occupancy rate we typically see during summer months. Average daily room rates are also on the rise, hitting an average of about $112 a night in August, which was on par with averages with what we saw in pre-pandemic 2019. We'll see if the recent rise in cases due to the Delta variant does impact hotel room nights during the fall months, and I will provide you with a more comprehensive update on the state of the city and the region's hospitality industry as the information becomes available. Thanks as always to our friends at Visit Montgomery for their partnership and for their support of our hotel operators. Secondly, and finally, those of us who have been working behind the scenes with our county partners on interpreting various health orders, disseminating information on the innumerable granting and loan programs that have been rolled out for businesses to help survive the economic impacts of COVID, have gotten to know and trust a few familiar and friendly faces over the past 18 months. Several of those faces are moving on from their respective roles in Montgomery County government, and I just wanted to give them a quick shout out. In addition to Dr. Travis Gales, whose departure has been relatively well publicized and to whom we owe a great deal of gratitude, I did want to thank and acknowledge Jerome Fletcher, the county's assistant CAO, who will soon be embarking on a new role as a city manager in Florida, and to Judy Stevenson, the county's longtime small business staff navigator, who is retiring. Both were incredibly patient and accommodating liaisons who provided valuable resources for many people and organizations who depended on them for real-time and reliable information, especially during the pandemic's darkest days. As tough as the last year and a half has been, it was a great pleasure to work with and get to know each of them. And on behalf of the city, I just wanted to wish them great success, thank them for their work, and wish Judy a well-deserved retirement. And that's all I've got for tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Tom, and we certainly associate ourselves with those remarks as well. Tech team, we're going to move on to ordinances, resolutions, and regulations, and invite you to bring on Deb Moran, our sustainability coordinator, to discuss awarding a contract for conversion of city-owned streetlights from high-pressure sodium to LED. This is something that's been on our radar screen for many, many years, and Tony Berger's here as well. Deb, go right ahead.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. I believe a summary was provided as I was being switched over to this world. So we are here to talk about a 4-year contract to convert all the remaining city-owned LED or high-pressure sodium streetlights to the more energy-efficient LED. A solicitation for the conversion, which was RFP 2021-029, was issued on June 6th and duly advertised on the city's website and eMaryland Marketplace. We received 5 very competitive proposals. All 5 proposals showed a potential energy reduction of more than 60%, which is 10% more than we originally anticipated for the program. So that is also very positive news. Upon staff evaluation, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder was Lighting Maintenance Incorporated, known as LMI. LMI is a Maryland-based business that we've worked with in the past and has actually helped us complete phase 1 of this program last year. LMI also currently holds the city's streetlight maintenance contract. The proposal came under the overall estimated budget for the project, and the city did receive a grant from MDE for $55,000 to be put towards this spending as well. And $293,000 have also been set aside for rebate funds to be paid out annually based on the number of lights that were converted each year. Work for each phase is scheduled to begin at the start of each fiscal year and completed by that calendar year, with the exclusion of this first year of the contract, which has a little bit of extra time baked into it. So the resolution before you is seeking authorization for the city manager to enter into a 4-year contract with Lighting Maintenance Incorporated for the conversion of city-owned streetlights from high-pressure sodium to LED in an amount not to exceed $2,076,838. And now I am happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you so much. What a happy agenda item. I think when Ryan and I first came on in 2007, this conversation was already on the table. I'm not sure we put it there. It may have predated us. And over the years, our partners at Pepco were a little slow to adapt, and there were some hangups that prevented us from doing this before. But here we are, and better late than never. Who'd like to, any questions or comments? Ryan Spiegel, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I completely agree and appreciate everything you just said, the sentiment about how exciting it is to finally be here, and also the history of the struggles that we had to go through to get here. But I also want to thank staff, including the city attorney's office, as well as others who have worked so hard to negotiate and push for PEPCO to create the updated tariff system structure that allows for us to actually have a financial incentive to do what's right to save energy and help the environment. So I am glad we are finally here. You're right, this is a very happy agenda item. That said, I just wanted to clarify for the public, the 2 million plus bid is not a per year price. That is over the course of the entire 4 years of the contract, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's really all I wanted to ask. Thanks.
Okay, let's go to Mike Sesma.
So as the mayor noted, this has been on the agenda for a long time in terms of trying to get things done. I think it first came up in my first term after I was elected in 2005. I think the big question then was the economics of conversion to LED. And then the next problem we had to deal with was the rate that PEPCO would charge. Even though we were saving energy, they didn't think we needed to pay less for that. So I'm glad that's all straightened out, and I'm very excited that this is moving forward. It sounds great that we're working with this resolution is to work with a contractor that has experience in the city, which will probably save us costs in the long run. And I was glad to see also that there's a 10% improvement over what was actually bid out in terms of the savings and the efficiency of this system. So with that, I'll just move the resolution. And if anybody wants to continue discussion, I think that's great.
Okay, I saw Lorianne's hand and then Ryan's. Go ahead, Lorianne.
I was going to second the motion. You know, we've been talking about this since I've been on the council, and so I'm glad we finally found a vendor, and we are making our city even more energy efficient and modernizing our light system in the community, and looking forward to all the environmental benefits that will soon follow once these are installed. So.
Thank you, Lorianne. Ryan, your hand was up. Was that just a second, or do you have more to add? Okay, just a second. All right, so we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. All those in favor say aye, any opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
Very happily, aye.
All right, Councilmember Wu,
Aye.
Councilmember Spiegel,
Aye.
and Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
All right, carries 5-0. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Tony. Let me pull up what we have next. Okay. Tech team, well, we have Lynn Board here. Tech team, if you could bring up Greg Mann from our planning department. We're going to talk about authorizing the city manager to negotiate a Fourth Amendment to an annexation agreement from way back when. And Lynn, I'll leave it to you.
Thank you, Mayor. The item before you this evening, as the mayor has said, is a Fourth Amendment to the annexation agreement with Monument. And this arises out of a 21.9 acre parcel that was originally annexed into the city in 1992. Since then, there have been 3 previous amendments to the annexation agreement, with the most recent one being on August 5th of 2008. This particular amendment really deals only with the area known as Unit 3 of Monument Corporate Center, which is the parcel that's been developed with the Kaiser Permanente Medical Center and the Hampton Inn and Suites. And Tech team, if you could pull up the map, please. Yeah, we did want to give you just an idea of the total parcel involved, and then the area that is shown in red is the area that is subject to this Fourth Amendment. So it's bounded by Watkins Mill Road and is, adjacent to North Frederick Avenue. Thank you. If you want to take the map down, unless someone has questions about the map. So the owners of Unit 3 have requested some changes to the annexation agreement to mostly clarify some areas and issues. This particular parcel is 29.9 acres of land. And some of the changes, or all of the changes that they are seeking, is first, in the third amendment to the annexation agreement, staff believes that required Unit 2 to be developed prior to Unit 3. So they wanted to clarify the annexation agreement that Unit 3 could be developed prior to Unit 2. Previously, Unit 3 had been authorized up to 3,500 square feet of a developable office use, but because of the total cap of square footage for the entire parcel and other parcels within the parcel, within the land already being developed, that limitation is now 260,000 square feet of office use. There's also a request to change the parking ratio under our current regulations or the current agreement. It would require 2 parking spaces per every 1,000 square feet of gross floor area. The 1.5 parking space request is based on what is currently provided in Montgomery County for life science building with lab space. So this parking requirement would only apply to development that is developed as life science buildings with lab space. It also confirms the existing setback of 48 feet from Watkins Mill that was previously approved in the second amended revised concept preliminary plan. So again, this is just a confirmation of the setback requirements. There was also a request on the forestation that they be entitled or allowed to use a fee in lieu of $3 per square foot if forestation cannot be accommodated on site. I think staff had reviewed this and found that there's a very small area on site available for forestation. And under the previous agreements, the fee in lieu was at 40 cents per square foot. And so this would raise that amount to $3 per square foot, which is more consistent with how we've handled other developments. So that is a general overview of what's being requested in the Fourth Amendment to Annexation Agreement. This does not change any of the requirements for any of the other parcels, other than Unit 3. So I think both Greg and I are here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Questions, comments from the council? We'll go to Ryan.
Thanks, Mayor. Lynn, I just wanted to clarify the second proposed change where you talked about developing Unit 3 up to 260,000 square feet of office use. What was the previous authorized use capacity, or what is the current, I should say, authorized use capacity for Unit 3 under the existing agreement?
It is 350,000 square feet, but it's also subject to an overall cap. And because the existing development has used more of that overall cap, 260 square feet is what's left under that cap.
260,000. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. I think you might have misspoken about how many square feet it was now, and I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that. So you said 350,000 proposed to be changed to 260,000.
Correct.
Okay. And does the new proposed 260,000 also fall within an overall cap, or would it be sort of independent of any current cap?
It would fall within the overall cap.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Appreciate the clarification.
Mike Sespa.
Yeah, I guess I'm still confused. So that cap is just for Unit 3, right?
The 250, or excuse me, 260,000 square feet, yes. Yes.
Okay. And how many units are in this entire monument property?
For this particular parcel, there are 4.
There are 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And
all
1
right,
and 4 have already been developed.
yeah, I mean, right now, there's enormous parking field between the Hampton Inn and the Kaiser Permanente. But there are rows of, I guess, islands where there are a lot of trees. I would hope that whatever is proposed here would also include some stormwater management that might provide an opportunity for some forestation. That's still to come. I think the fact that there's movement on this suggests that the presence of the interchange has resulted in a developer making decisions about the advantages now to build here, and it's been a long time coming. So I'm assuming that that's what is planned for this next parcel, which seems ideal, and that's kind of why we wanted that interchange completed and built, so that it would be accessible a couple of different, more than at least a couple of different ways for commercial development. And if it's R&D, that's a perfect siting for it. So that's really all I have. I'm happy to move the resolution for further discussion.
Thank you, Mike. We have a motion is there a second? Dorian,
Second.
okay. I will call the roll. All in favor say aye, any opposed say nay. Councilmember Harris,
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma,
Aye.
Councilmember Wu,
Aye.
Councilmember Spiegel,
Aye.
and Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
All right, carries 5-0. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lynn and Greg. Next, tech team, if you could bring up Jasmine Forbes. We now just sort of have to close the loop on the SDP proposal at 151 Lakelands Drive. Jasmine, all yours.
Good evening. So staff's before you with the draft resolution of denial for schematic development plan application SDP-8551-2020 for the property located at 151 Lakelands Drive. The application proposed a 1-story, 12,900 square foot daycare education building, outdoor play area, and associated parking lot. During the Mayor and City Council's July 19th regular session meeting, the council denied a motion to approve a draft resolution of approval. Staff has returned with a draft resolution of denial and is ready by separate motion for a final action. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have this evening.
Thank you, Jasmine. Questions or comments? We'll go to Neil.
So I'd like to make a comment of something that hasn't been discussed as part of this discussion this evening, which is one of my main concerns that hasn't been brought up is the safety of kids based on the proposal to put a daycare center on this property. The property lies in between and fairly close to a major highway and a stormwater pond / lake. And it's just hard to imagine a situation where sooner or later a kid wouldn't run afoul of either of those. And that just didn't seem like the right place for it. So I just wanted to make sure that that concern was expressed along with the others that have already been mentioned.
Thank you, Neil. Questions, comments, anyone else? I think I see, yeah, Rob Wu and then Ryan Spiegel. Go ahead, Rob.
Thanks, Mayor. It's that darn filter. It's hard to get my hand in focus. So I reviewed the information in this draft resolution. I provided input to it. I agree with its contents, but I think that it's missing part of the reason why I had concern with the site and why I voted against it, which I expressed the evening of the last vote. I articulated those reasons back to staff, and I assume the reason they're not included in or incorporated in is perhaps there weren't 3 sources of input. And so I just wanted to raise again for the record and for discussion, in addition to what's articulated in this draft resolution, and it's somewhat mentioned in points in the seventh finding of not in the public interest and the, I guess, copious amounts, that's my classification, quantification of opposition from the residents based on the difficulties associated with the site because of its location and traffic flow. But I would suggest, and this is my comment back to staff, is that my concern is not just the comments of the public in that regard, but that I don't believe that for both traffic moving onto site and traffic moving off of site, that it shows that the site is in fact externally compatible. That is that because of the road intersections and the traffic challenges associated with the location of that site, that my objection is not just in hearing what the public had to say about it, but I would specifically make a finding that while the applicant did make a showing regarding the stacking issue as traffic moved onto site, and that did, I think, mitigate some of the concern there. It is a study, and in the reality, when this gets built, the best studies may not be adequate enough to mitigate the impacts of what actually may occur on site, particularly because the State Highway Administration looked at but was not willing to make any changes to the light sequencing, the left-hand turn onto site. One of the concerns that I expressed both in the initial hearing as well as in the denial, my laying the foundation for why I was voting against the resolution, was also the movement off of site. And I strongly oppose the left turn motion off of site that would ultimately lead onto Great Seneca. Because of the traffic conflicts that would be creating, because traffic would essentially be moving across two uncontrolled lanes with at least one aspect having a very short visibility distance. And so because I would oppose the left-hand turning movement in any circumstance where there's significant traffic volume, that's left with a right-hand movement into the Lakelands proper. And I think the impacts on the neighborhood in only permitting traffic that accesses the site to make a right turn into Lakelands, I think shows that those complications make the use on the site externally incompatible. So I would just offer that as an additional finding I would support under the fourth finding under the ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Ryan was next. Go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to do a couple of things here. First, for the benefit of the public, I just sort of want to reemphasize, I think it's been said in staff's introduction tonight, but I just want to sort of reemphasize what's going on here. Yes, we did already take a vote on this proposal some weeks ago, but a failure to approve is technically somewhat different than an affirmative vote to deny, with findings and conclusions supporting the affirmative vote to deny. And so as a result of the failure to approve a few weeks ago, that's why there is a formal vote to deny in front of the council tonight, in case anyone out there is sort of confused trying to figure out the procedural posture. That said, I was one of the people who voted to approve some weeks ago. That didn't pass, but my reasoning hasn't changed. And for those same reasons, I will be voting against the resolution to deny tonight. So I just wanted to sort of clarify where we were in terms of procedural positioning. I do also want to say, with all due respect to Council Member Harris, I am not persuaded by the argument about of children attending the daycare. Daycare centers are located all over the place in busy urban environments, in proximity to roads, in proximity to bodies of water. And I think as long as the center is designed to meet appropriate safety standards and is operated in an appropriate way, I don't think that there's really a major concern there. That's just my opinion. But for all the other reasons articulated in our last discussion a few weeks ago, I will be voting against this resolution. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll go to Mike. Mike, you are muted.
Ryan, thank you. Ryan stated my position as well on this, and in fact, preempted my comments on those. So, but he was much more thorough in that. I appreciate that. Jasmine, can you tell us what the current property owner is able to do on this site, since this particular use has not been approved or won't be approved?
So there is currently a final site plan for a 6,000 square foot restaurant and approximately about 70 parking space, a parking lot for that property. So the applicant can come in if they find a tenant for a restaurant, can build a restaurant on that site.
So they could just, they could simply move forward with that at this point. What would have to happen for them to move forward with that?
So there was a final site plan that outlined the building footprint and the parking lot. So the applicant would need to come back with a final site plan for the final architecture for that restaurant use.
So it's really only architecture that would be subject to planning commission approval. Everything else about the site and its use as a restaurant site has already been approved.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. In fact, I think we all agreed that this is probably not the best site for a restaurant, yet it's a site, it's a use that's been approved here. And really the council wouldn't have much to do with anything in terms of approval of that particular use, regardless of the concerns about traffic and exiting and entrance to that site. And in fact, it might be a more busy site at certain hours of the day that would make it much more incompatible, externally and internally incompatible with the community. I think that the best use and most appropriate, the best possible use of this site, and one that would be less obtrusive both externally and internally to the community, would be the use that was proposed. So that was why I supported it the first time. I don't, and so I will also vote no on this resolution.
Thanks, Mike. I saw Neil's hand before. Neil, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just following up on Ryan's doubtfulness about my comment. I have to say from personal experience that my grandson, when he was 4 years old, was asked to no longer attend a preschool because he was too good of an escape artist. So I am a little bit concerned still that from personal experience. So I will support this motion with my comments intact.
Okay, well, does Rob Wu go right ahead?
Thanks, Mayor. I will, well, my intent is to move the resolution with the addition of the concerns that I had expressed, but I'm not exactly sure how to word that. And we're kind of in an interesting situation here, whereas Ryan kind of mentioned procedurally speaking, the resolution that was introduced and voted down at the last session was an affirmative resolution. And really, I thought procedurally speaking, we would just need to express our rationale for why and build the record for why we weren't supporting that resolution. But now we're taking up an affirmative resolution to the contrary. I think it's important for the applicant to understand why I voted against it. And so I'll support this resolution. I won't amend it, but all of the things that I stated, I think for the record, are supporting my rationale, both in voting against the prior resolution and voting in favor of this resolution, even though it does not encapsulate the complete rationale under which I believe this site does not meet the requirements of the ordinance. So with that, move the resolution.
Okay, do we have a second? Lorianne, please.
Second.
Okay, I will call the roll. All those in favor of, and again, this is a motion, this is a resolution of denial. All those in favor of the resolution of denial, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. We'll start with Councilmember Harris,
Aye.
Council Vice President Sesma.
No,
Okay, it's nay, but I'm taking the no for nay.
nay, they both start with N. They both mean the same thing. No, nay,
Councilmember Wu.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's supposed to be aye, but okay.
Aye, okay.
Councilmember Spiegel.
Nay.
Okay, and Councilmember Sales.
Aye.
Okay, so it carries 3-2 with council members Spiegel and Sesma voting in opposition. Thank you all. Thank you, Jasmine and Greg. Next, from the city attorney.
I know that Councilmember Harris did provide a little bit of update on some of the election issues going forward, but I wanted to provide a little bit more information. Certainly the candidate debate hosted by the Chamber of Commerce has been scheduled for October 7th at 7 p.m. and that will be held virtually. Today we did get delivery of the ballot drop boxes. They're located in 6 areas around the city. They will be rebranded on Wednesday because they currently say State of Maryland. So on Wednesday, there'll be new decals going up on those boxes and they will be open for voting or to accept mail-in ballots on Friday this week. In addition to the postcard that Neil showed everyone, which hopefully you all received at your homes, we have mailed out a letter explaining the methods of voting as well as mail-in ballot application. So those should be hitting the homes of all registered voters within the city within the next day or so. So the election process is moving forward. If there are any questions, please visit the elections page on the city's website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Dennis, I'm assuming that we're not expecting anything from any other staff. Okay, well then I will remind everyone to join us Saturday at the Kentlands Lakelands 5K, Sunday for the fireworks, and happy Labor Day to everybody. And until next time, let's do great things, Gaithersburg. We are adjourned.